All right, so if you're just joining us, we're putting in the chat if we ordered lunch from a local area restaurant, and go ahead and put your restaurant that you ordered from. We have quite a variety. Oh, I wanted a Maru salad. Oh, so good. This is
Nice.
terrific, terrific.
I'm so jealous of people who live places where delivery is an option, or even pickup. I live in a cornfield.
Sorry. Maybe a food truck will drive by.
More likely I could go get some beef from my neighbors or eggs from their chickens.
There you go. There you go.
That is not a bad thing. That sounds great.
Can I admit that I took advantage of the delivery thing, and for Mother's Day, called in an order in Illinois for my stepmom to get her meal delivered right to her, whatever she wanted from a local restaurant there. So
that is a great idea.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, and I'm going to do it every single year now, knowing that how great it went over and how easy it was to do.
Exactly. We need to talk. So if anybody wants info on how to do that long distance, talk to Dawn. You can private message her, but not during our speakers, because we're going to. Okay, so I want to do our best to stick to our schedule, and I've got Millie helping to let people in who might arrive late. So I'll ask you all to go ahead and mute yourselves. We are recording today's session, and I'm so happy to see everybody, our members and our guests. It's lovely to see all of you. In fact, we've got so many in that we can't all fit on one screen. So yay. And I'm going to do this. Yay. This is our Zoom applause. So when we are, I saw Justine do that the other day, and Leslie had requested that maybe we do that for our folks as we introduce them. So that's how we will applaud, being muted. And I want to remind everybody that NACW is an organization of professional women dedicated to creating a supportive, engaging environment for all of us to develop personally and professionally. And we have more information about how we're doing that at the end of our session today. So in keeping with our schedule, what we are going to do now is I'm going to shoot you off into some breakout rooms, and we are going to be, our keynote speaker, Leslie Charles, is going to be talking about how we're going to keep our spark lit. How do we continue to thrive? And what I know is this group is made up of resilient women with lots of grit. That's what brings us together. That's why we vibrate so well together. It's a wonderful, amazing group filled with strong women. And yes, even strong women get a little puny sometimes. We all have those days, and you've experienced them more than not, where we ebb and flow and sometimes just crash. And what Leslie's going to really do today is help us use some strategies and learn new ways of not only coping, but really thriving during this time. So when you go into your breakout groups, I'd like you to come up with a collective question for Leslie today in the theme of keeping your spark lit. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot you off into your groups. You know, can simply hit that button to join, and then I will bring you back in approximately 4 minutes. So you don't have a lot of time. Make the most of it. And then if you'll identify one person to enter that in the chat when we return. Enter your question in the chat. So here you go. We're going to do the breakout rooms. And I think we'll do 6 rooms. There you go. Whew. Okay. Hi, I'm zipping you off to a, oh shoot. I just did I sent everybody to the, hey, to breakout rooms. And so I'm going to give you each a room and you can hop into that. Do you see that opportunity to join?
Join breakout room? Yep.
Yes, there you go. Hey, Brenda. Don't worry, it's not just you and me. Everybody's in the breakout rooms. Can you hear me? Hi.
Gina.
Can you go ahead and hit the join breakout room? Do you see that button? You should have that on your screen.
Join breakout room.
There you go.
Content.
Join breakout room. Awesome. Okay. Yes. John Patrick. Oh. Hi, Deb. Hi, Deb. It's not just you and me. Can you hear me? Hi. I unmuted you. There you go. Say something.
Okay. Hi, this is Deborah.
Hi. It's not just you and me. The others
Okay.
are in the breakout rooms. They're in the breakout rooms.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm going to pull them back. Hi, Megan. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm just adding you to the slot here. It's not just the three of us. The other ones are in their breakout rooms, and I'm pulling them back in 1 minute. So I don't want to shoot you into the rooms. I'm going to close them, and then they'll be back in 1 minute. Now, as a reminder, if your connection is a little slow, taking your video off will allow you to have that work better. So here they come. Everybody's coming back.
If you press the button to get that 57 minutes off, you end your breakout session. So that happened.
Some people scooted away. So now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know. That's okay. I know it is a little, you'd think that they need to do something different with the timer, like just show it in a circle countdown on the side or something, because when people try to move it, it shoots them back in. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, we've added a few more people to our mix. Brenda is here, and Deb is here, and Megan is here. And I'd like to welcome everybody back from their groups. If the one identified person from the group could go ahead and put the question in the chat, and then we will make sure that Leslie addresses those questions. And what I would like to do, please, is have Michelle, if you would be so kind as to introduce Pam. And one of the things that you all can do to make this, if you'd like to, really see Pam, go ahead and put it on speaker view instead of gallery, so we can, in case she has anything to show us, or I don't know, maybe she's going to do a little dance, because that sounds like Pam. So Michelle,
Right.
I will let you go ahead and introduce Pam. Thank you.
Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce Pam Lambrowski, and I'm sure I just slaughtered that once again,
You just
Pam,
made me
because I always
Polish.
do. Polish. Okay, Lambrowski. Say it for us, Pam. I call you Pam Lamb. Sorry.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, Pam Lamb. That's Pam. Pam's a Allstate agent in Okemos, Michigan, located on Okemos Road, located across the road from Meyer. Pam has been an agent for 20 plus years. She is licensed in the state of Michigan and Florida. She has 5-star reviews from her clients on Google. Pam personally insures myself. In her spare time, Pam enjoys reading MSU on, enjoys vacationing in Mexico, and enjoys the beaches. And she has one son and a daughter-in-law here locally, and her husband, who also is in the insurance industry as well. So welcome, Pam.
Are you getting a kiss?
I'm getting not cooperative even when you buy new toys, so that this won't happen. This is what I'm getting, but sorry.
That's cute. I won't have a child get on my lap. So welcome, everybody. It's always good to start a meeting with insurance because it's so fun. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit interesting and a little bit just to you. I don't want to go through the law because that could be something where all of a sudden everybody's going, I'm not paying attention, I didn't hear anything that she said, but I wanted to apply to what's happening. We did some surveys, and only 5% of people that we surveyed even knew that there was a law changing. So I still have it on view where I can see almost everybody. So just by show me your hand, raise your hand if you knew that the law was changing July 2020. Okay, so we got some smart women in the room. So most of you knew the law was changing. How many people feel like you know exactly what it's changing to and how it affects you? Okay, now we got less hands. So there's a couple things, and I encourage you to read as much as you can, because to me, it's just like the crisis we're going through right now. Everybody has a different opinion about it, right? Just like politics, everybody has a different opinion, and you're going to be separated on what that opinion is, and if you think this is a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm not going to give my opinion on it. I want you to make your own opinion. I'm just going to tell you how this is going to affect you. There's a lot of articles out there from attorneys. There's a lot of articles out there from doctors. Mitch Albom has been very outspoken about the law and how it's changing and how it's affecting you. So what I'm going to talk to you about is how to talk to your insurance agent about it. So whoever your insurance agent is, this is a good time to talk to them. I obviously, as a local insurance agent, do not encourage you to buy on the internet, because you're not going to have that relationship with someone in the office, to have someone there that will advise you correctly. As of right now, where the law is changing, people are asking the question, is it going to save me money? That remains to be seen as of right now. There's no guarantee that it's going to save you money. So I'm going to throw that out there right now so that you're not surprised if your premium does not go down in July, that may happen. They are going to lower the fee. The fee right now is $220 per car a year, and it's going to go down to $100. So right there, you're going to save about $120 off of your policy automatically. So that should be a savings, right? I mean, that sounds very easily, hey, I'm going to have a savings and it's going to be very minimal, but it is a savings. On the other hand, you have to purchase more liability. So whatever your liability is, so I would encourage you, it looks like most people are sitting at your desk, take a piece of paper and a pen and write down some of these things, because you're going to want to talk to your insurance agent about them. And obviously you can call me and I will give you my opinion of it to talk to your insurance agent about it. But the main thing is, look at your bodily injury liability on your existing policy that you have now. If you have less than 250,000 liability, so the new required limit is 250,500. If you have less than that, the state is going to require you to carry 250,500 effective July. Now it's going to be effective upon your renewal. However, the reason why you're on this call today is to get my advice. Change that now. Make sure you have at least 250,500 now or more. So call your insurance agent and get some rates on it, because let's say today is July 5th. And today, July 5th, you do not renew your policy until October.
Keep an eye on your brother, please. Make sure he's safe.
So you did not, you did not change your policy yet, because you're going to wait until October for your renewal. So let's say you have 100, 300. That's what you're carrying on your policy right now. It is now July 5th. The law has changed. Somebody has removed their medical from their policy. That somebody is the person that you hit, and now they're suing you. They're suing you and you only have 100,000. If you've ever been to the hospital, if you ever had emergency procedures done at a hospital, if you've ever had any rehab, you're going to go through that 100,000 in no time. It's going to be gone. So they're going to go after you personally. And this is where the law is completely changing for the state of Michigan. Right now, if I hit somebody and I hurt them, they can only sue me for permanent bodily injury. That's all they can sue me for right now. So I'd have to permanently damage their lifestyle. They have to lose a limb. They have to be paralyzed. They'd have to die before they could come after and sue me. Now they can sue me for all their medical. So they can come after me for all their medical expenses, which can be millions of dollars. So first, your required limit, look at your policy. If you have less than 250,500, you're going to want to raise it now, because the company's not going to raise it until your renewal, and you could get hurt in the meantime. The other thing you want to do is talk to your agent about an umbrella policy. Umbrella policies go above your home and auto, so you're going to get extra protection on your home. But it goes above your auto policy, so if someone were to sue you because you hurt them in an auto accident and they removed the medical portion off of their policy, or you hurt them so bad that they're coming after you and you want to try to protect your assets. Now, one thing that I see that people say incorrectly, I'll hear someone talk and they'll say, well, you want to at least protect your assets. That's not necessarily true. I may have very little assets. I may have a very small amount of equity in my home. I might not own a home. I might rent. But that does not mean that you cannot be sued like a millionaire. People will still sue you for more than what you have. And then they can go after and garnish wages, take retirement plans when you come take them out as an income. So we have people that when they retire, part of that retirement is going to pay off a settlement. So you don't want to get in that situation. So what you want to do is you want to have as much liability as you can afford. So it's really nice to say, hey, I'm going to buy, $4 million in liability. If you can't afford it, the worst thing is that your policy doesn't stay in force. So you're going to talk to your agent. So first, raise your liability to $5,500. It's going to be raised in a couple months anyway. Then talk to your agent about what it would cost to get an umbrella policy to protect your assets, protect your future wages, and to protect any income that you have coming down for future claims that you might have. So that protects you. That's if you hurt somebody in an auto accident. Now, what if you're the person that gets hurt in an auto accident? This is where the law has changed a lot. Right now, as it states, if you purchase auto insurance in the state of Michigan, you have unlimited lifetime benefits, which is the best out of any country, out of any state in the country. And that's why we have expensive insurance in Michigan. I'm going to recommend, and your insurance agent probably recommend, and most everybody will recommend, that you keep that on your policy. Again, your fee is going to go down about $100, but to have that kind of coverage is just second to none for the amount of money that you pay. Again, if you can't afford it and your auto policy is going to lapse, don't keep it. But if you can afford to keep unlimited lifetime benefits, keep it, especially for this year. If you're going to change it at all, wait until after this year, because right now there are people that have not raised their liability. So now we're going back to you get hurt. So let's say I'm driving down the road and someone hits me and I decided to not have the unlimited lifetime benefits on my policy. So I need someone to pay for my medical coverage. I go to sue the person and they only have the state minimum, which right now is $20,000. That's all I'm going to get. I'm going to get the $20,000. So this is something that you have to look at to say people aren't up with the law yet and people haven't changed policies. Some people have annual policies, so their policy is not going to renew until next June, and they might not have a lot of liability for you. So if you are going to get rid of this policy, I would wait at least a year and then reevaluate it at that time to see if you want to get rid of it. The limits that you can choose are the unlimited. You can go down to 500,000, 250,000, or if there's someone that has Medicaid, they can go down to 50,000, or you can just take it off completely and have it covered. Now, customers will call me and say, I have a great policy through work, so why do I need to keep this here? Your work policy, your medical, is totally different than unlimited lifetime benefits. If I do not have unlimited lifetime benefits, it is going to be a whole different scenario for me if I go to my health carrier. My health carrier is going to pay my medical bills. They're going to pay for some rehab or physical therapy, and that's it. Your policy, your auto policy, could actually pay for some renovations done to your home. So I'm going to tell you the very first claim I had in insurance, I was 27 years old, and I wrote a policy, and the person had a claim, they lost a leg, and we remodeled his whole entire house for him. So that was where I really started believing in insurance, is that now he has a ramp on his house. We widened the entryways to his hallways, to his doorways, so that he could get a wheelchair through there. We hired someone to take care of him, to make him meals. We did all these things that your healthcare provider is not going to do for you. So you got to think long and hard as do I want my medical to pay for it? Because my medical is going to pay for my medical, and the unlimited lifetime benefits are going to pay for more. So those are the two major things, is that you're going to want more liability, number one, because if you hurt someone, they're going to sue you, and you're going to think long and hard about whether removing that unlimited lifetime benefits, and we don't know what that's going to really cost over time, so keep looking at that. The third things I'm going to do before I start going to some of these questions are you want to make sure that your agent knows how to get a hold of you, make sure he has up-to-date email addresses for you, phone numbers for you, and make sure you do not lie to your agent about who's in your household. Back in the day, you could hide your young drivers, you could hide someone who had a bad driving record, and the companies would still cover them, they'd still pay for the claim, and then non-renew you at renewal or raise your rate at renewal. Those days are gone. You cannot hide young drivers. You cannot hide someone with a bad driving record. You got to be very honest with your agent, what the situation is, who's in your household, who's driving, and what kind of medical coverage you have, for them to give you a good advice based on this. And make sure you own the vehicles that you have on the policy. So you can't insure your child's vehicle on your policy. Your child can't insure their vehicle on your policy. You got to look at who owns the cars and get those all insured correctly. So make sure you're making the right decision for the insurance company that you're with. So Claudia just said she absolutely needs that high umbrella. So she agrees with that. Jen, does this apply to boat liability or just auto? This is just auto. Boat liability is a completely different animal. We won't get into that, but the liability on the boat, they can always sue for your liability. You always want to have high liability on your boat. The umbrella would be over and above your boat, your home, your auto if you have a boat. So the umbrella would cover above that too. Just a little side note on boats. I know that this is not what this is about, but if you hit a larger boat, they're going to sue you. So you might have $250,000 on your home and your auto, so you do $250,000 on your boat. But if you hit a $500,000 boat, all of a sudden you don't have enough liability. So boats are a little different because you're being charged for everything on boats. Justine Bell says she's a medical agent and she's going to keep the full medical on her policy. It's not worth losing it. So there's somebody else that is agreeing with that. Okay, so Dory asked the state minimum right now, I'm assuming you're talking liability. So the state minimum, I can't talk, minimum right now is $20,000. It's going to go to $250,000. Can adult children of going to college be on parents' policy? That's something for each auto insurance company. That's for you to talk to your agent about, because every company is different about that. I'm going to say that most will allow adult children that are going to college to be on your policy, but I don't want to answer for all insurance companies because they all have their own underwriting and rules and regulations. Does the car need to be titled in both parents' and adult child's name? Again, that's going to be up to your the carrier that you're with. So with Allstate, as long as you're living in the household, they're okay to be on the policy. Once they leave the household, they are not. But you got to talk to your agent about that and make sure that you're abiding to what they allow you to do within their underwriting guidelines. So the questions that I received earlier really were, I did not know this was happening. So tell me more about it. And am I going to save money? So the big thing was, am I going to save money? I don't know. Nobody knows that yet. Nobody knows what that's going to look like until you raise your liability, until we start seeing if people are going to start removing the medical, and if they're going to start suing each other more. Because if they start suing each other more, then you're going to see the liability getting to be more expensive on your policy, because we're going to be paying out a lot more lawsuits. So I wish I could answer that, but we're wondering that too ourselves. Correct. So Michelle Hoffman said it, you said it perfectly. If you save money and you get sued, you definitely aren't saving money. You could be out a ton of money if you don't have the proper liability. So I'm going to hire some of you people. You're really good at looking at the good side of this. So that is everything. I'm at my 15 minutes. So does anybody have any questions besides the ones that we have here? I wish I could tell you it's going to save you a ton of money and this was, going to be the greatest thing ever, but I think that all remains to be seen.
Pam, thank you very much. I did give a big round of applause. Great information.
How we do that here?
Woo. And I really, this is great information, and I know a lot of people are going to appreciate having a recording. Of course, the lawn people are here and the dogs are barking, so I'm going to try to shift over to Lisa really quickly to introduce Leslie. Pam, thank you again, and thank you. We are It's great
Yes,
information.
thank you, Pam. That was awesome. Thank you so much for that information. I had the opportunity of meeting Leslie at another women's group out in Charlotte, and she and I grabbed coffee, and I learned of her relationship with NACW. Yeah, also, she's an author. She's got so many amazing qualities about her, and the one thing we need right now is resilience. And Leslie today has a unique take on the topic, not just by studying it, but by practicing it every day. So let's give Leslie Charles a warm NACW welcome. Turn it over to you, Leslie.
Thank you, Lisa. And I want to give a warm welcome to each of you who showed up. Thank you very much. Applause for you. And now you have a new skill. You know one thing in American Sign Language, which is, I know that and I'm sorry. That's about how much I know. So let's talk about what we have in our world right now, YOW. And I pulled out a note from March in my journal. And here's what it says. I feel like I'm an unpaid extra in a really bad grade B dystopian movie, held hostage in a parking lot where there's little shelter with paintball war games going on all around me, and I'm trying to dodge getting hit. Can you relate? That's sort of where we are right now. Not happy, and yet I've talked with lots of people who say, you know, I wasn't very happy a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago either, and now I miss what I didn't like. So life is unpredictable, life is imperfect, and we, each of us, are imperfect people living, loving, and pursuing our livelihood in an imperfect world. So we have to play with the cards we've been dealt, and I have some suggestions on how to do that. One word that is really important to me, and I'm hoping that you will absorb and embrace it, is the word practice. Doctors have medical practices, athletes practice their craft. If we think about all the people in life, artists are continually practicing new ways, new methods of doing their art. And here we have an opportunity to practice in our own lives. And that separates one day from the other. And I have a lot of practices in my life. One of them, which has saved me a lot of stress, which I write and speak on, is the practice of saying to myself, don't panic. Do not panic until you know it is absolutely necessary. I remember driving cross country and not being able to find my wallet. And all of a sudden, it was lunchtime, I'm hungry, and I start looking for my wallet, can't find it anywhere, pull off the road, search my car, finally found it on the floor underneath my seat. I don't know how it got there, but I was not panicked while I was looking. And so it helped me just save a whole lot of stress over sometimes big things, sometimes little things. And I will talk about a few techniques that can help us do that. So helping us start having this practice in our lives, and a couple of them I have also is I name my year every year a different theme, and that helps me stay focused and kind of in the moment. And the changes, the gifts in my life have been absolutely life-changing by doing this practice of having an annual theme. And I walk, I move, I exercise, and I also eat. Cooking is another practice in my life, learning new things. COVID has given me an opportunity to build a relationship with my Instant Pot that a friend bought me. So that's something that I just can't get enough of, is the idea of practicing every day. After 40 years of doing what I do, I finally figured out what it is that I do, and that's why we're using the word spark, trying to keep the spark in our lives. My new persona is a spark ninja. And we can all be ninjas in our life, because the word ninja actually started out meaning to persevere. And so being able to be resilient, being able to persevere when things go wrong, will help us have a sense of humor and practice some things we've never done before. I'd like to see a show of hands. Is Zoom new to any of you? I mean, I'm just learning the skills. I haven't used Zoom a whole lot. I do in-person practices. And that's another new practice I have, is connecting with my friends on Zoom, practicing my Zoom skills, learning what works, what doesn't work, and being able to present on Zoom. I had the pleasure of working with 8 college students recently from Olivet College, and that was really fun for me. So in taking a look at the idea of practice, here's one of the benefits. We like to do really well. I was an early member of NACW. I know a lot of women who belong to professional associations, and one of the things that we know about professional women is that we take our jobs very seriously. We take our lives seriously. We want to succeed. And as a result, sometimes perfectionism gets in our way. And so what happens with practice is you are continually practicing. It takes you off the hook of having to be 100% wonderful, effective, successful, and you're always noodling with things and looking for small improvements. It's sort of like making life a test kitchen. I'm sort of a foodie, so I use a lot of food references from time to time. And being able to cook up new ideas for you on how you can have some quality in your life, even when it sucks. And that is to find little ways of helping yourself, taking care of yourself and staying on this path of practice. This keeps your spark lit so that you can have a sense of humor, so that you can be able to laugh at yourself. I'm on Facebook and I'm always looking for humorous bits on Facebook so that I can laugh and I can also help friends of mine laugh. I saw, this is a kind of a sad one, but it's a photo of a person lying in state. They're dead, and it's a mime. And you know, hands are up in the air like this, the striped suit and all that. And 2 people are standing there, and one of them says, "I have no words." That's my edgy sense of humor, and being able to laugh at silly stuff, being able to eavesdrop. When I'm walking and on the other side of the street, people are talking about something. I always cross the street so that I don't have to pass them closely. But right now, we want to be very creative in how we look at life and how we look at what we're doing and how we're doing it. So one of the fuels, besides practice of practicing, one of the fuels that you have that will help you keep your spark lit is being able to be grateful every single day for what you have. And I suggest, if you haven't done this, to write down the 5 things you feel most grateful for in your life on the back of your business card, if you have room for that, or make your own little business card, your little gratitude card. I've been carrying one with me for 30 years. The 5 things you feel most grateful for, in order. And if you start having this is my personification of stress, that tisk-sigh combo that we use when we start getting ticked off. And instead of getting all bent out of shape, pull out your little gratitude card and read it. And it's the shortest self-imposed motivational seminar you can put unto yourself, and it works. So if you're just feeling really frustrated and maybe the internet isn't working for you or something else is going on that's even worse, remind yourself, what do I still feel grateful for? In the worst times of my life, that's the question that has saved me from having too much stress, from getting really angry, from sort of going off the rails, is being able to just focus on gratitude. Starting my day with gratitude. I woke up, and ending my day with gratitude. What do I feel good for? 2 weeks ago, I discovered a park I didn't know existed within 25 minutes of me. And it's because I've never driven down that road before. And that's where I'm going every day now, to be able to just feel grateful for spring coming and seeing the trout lily blooming and Jack in the Pulpit and other plants. And I'm a bird watcher and I hear birds. I know probably 100 of them by ear. So all I have to do is go, oh, wow, there's a great crested flycatcher, and being able to appreciate the little things in life. How this all fits is in our life. And if you think about your own life, where have your biggest lessons come from? And I will bet that they have come from hard times, from sometimes crisis, from sometimes something that happened that we didn't want to have happen. And I call them blessings. I spell it B-L-E-S-S-O-N-S, just like lessons. And those were things I didn't want to have happen. But that's where I learned, I grew, I changed my perspective. I found out how strong I am, how empowered I am when the chips are down, and it made all the difference for me. So I'd like you to stop and think for a moment, what is one example of a blessing in your own life? And I'll ask you to participate and to share that, because it's been, well, I had a breakup 10 years ago after 35 years. I did not expect it. I got dumped, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. But it took a while to learn that. He suffered from a condition that was uncurable. I call it FDD, Fidelity Deficit Disorder. And once I realized that this was not going to work, I started living my own life, and I discovered the life I didn't know I wanted. So that's an example of a blessing, and I've had many of them. Almost getting fired from my first 3 jobs taught me that I should be self-employed. And sometimes if you ever feel like a misfit in your work, put the emphasis on the second syllable instead of the first, and that you are a misfit in that particular culture, in that particular position, in that particular profession. And sometimes that helps you find the blessing rather than the lesson. Regina, are you here? I just want to make sure if, okay, I see your symbol. Okay, cool. Because I want to stop for a minute and ask if any of you have an example of a blessing, and maybe you called it a tragedy, a challenge, a problem, but you learned so much from it that you gained way more than you lost. Any takers on that?
Do you want us to just unmute ourselves? I'll tell you what happened to me. So this is a long time ago. I got out of Michigan State, spent my whole life thinking I was going to be a school teacher, got laid off 5 years in a row. At the end of the 5th year, I said, screw this, I can't do it. Quit being a school teacher, tried to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and for the last 35 years, I've been a photographer. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's a really good example of a blessing. And sometimes it takes, 5 years. So it took me going through 3 jobs to figure out that I should be self-employed. I'm not the fastest learner in the world. But Michelle, that's a really good example of a blessing. And you became your own boss. You didn't have to worry about getting fired. Things go up and down in times like this, but still, you gained from that experience. And sometimes we learn more from our mistakes, failure, or what we call temporarily failure than we do from our successes. One more? All right, Michelle. All right, I'll let you sit with that. I hope you'll do some journaling about the blessings in your life, because they're an important part of who we are and how our character develops. So we'll leave that one. So how do we do this practice thing? The first ingredient is self-awareness. And by the way, you don't need to be taking notes, because I'm going to send you a follow-up reminder with all of the bullet points that I'm covering here. So you won't have to worry about that. We've become pretty familiar with the word mindfulness in the last few years. And a lot of times we're not exactly sure. So what is it really? It's being aware of you, being aware of yourself, thinking about what's going on in my head, what's going on in my body, How am I feeling right now? And doing what I call check-ins or quick checks. And if you ever find yourself starting to grumble, right, whine, or, I mean, you have all kinds of reasons now. But still, sometimes we let it go a little bit too far. If you have a best friend, that's the person to rant with. But otherwise, sometimes we complain about things that are uncontrollable, like what's going on right now. We're fortunate, I feel fortunate that I can at least get outside for a walk and find that little nature spot. It's only 20 acres, but doggone it, it really feeds my spirit. So in terms of mind, here's how you can be more self-aware and mindful. What am I thinking right now? What's going on in my head? Oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And I talked about this is an opportunity right now to become more self-aware, to become more in the moment, what's happening at this very minute. If I go for a walk in the woods and I'm just hoofing it along, I'm going to miss a lot of the subtleties that are happening. The lilies of the valley are starting to blossom. They've just been these little teeny tiny blossoms, and now they're starting to open up. And if I hurry and if I don't look around, I miss something. I discovered this place has 2 ponds, not 1, after a week, because I was always looking to the right when I came back down my trail. And all of a sudden I looked in the other direction and went, oh my gosh, there were a couple of wood ducks over there. I tromped through the bushes and, or the leaves really, and the fallen trees, and discovered that this pair of wood ducks was over there. So I have here, where's this thought coming from and how am I feeling about it? So check your mind first, and then you make a decision about, do I need to rethink this? And I have an example here. Maybe you have some calls to make and there's a person you don't like a whole lot. So you say to yourself, ugh, I have to call so-and-so today, what a drag. How about reframing that so you feel a little bit better? I need to call this person and I'm going to do an excellent job of deflecting her negativity. So you make a decision ahead of time instead of thinking how awful this is going to be. And I have figured out in life that if sometimes you want to change a relationship, the best way to do that is to say something nice to the person. It has to be sincere. It has to be a real compliment. But if you give positive feedback to someone, chances are that's going to change their behavior. They'll start treating you differently because they think you have such good taste by seeing these good things in them. So it's an opportunity to create a better relationship than to keep sort of grousing about the negative parts. What do I have here? Or you can say, as Beverly Sills did, I read about her doing a series of concerts. She was once the head of the Metropolitan Opera. If any of you remember her, some of you may not, but she was a wonderful, wonderful woman. And the same limo driver drove her for 3 days to all of these different concerts, and they pulled up to the last one. And he said to her, well, you finally get to do the last one. And she said, I get to do the last one. They both used the same word, but the definition or the context of how they used it was different. So you're in charge of your self-talk, and minding your mind can be transformative. I know you do that to some extent, and each of us can do it a little more, and that keeps us in a better, more resilient frame of mind. It keeps your spark lit, and you just want to keep that little pilot light going. Body, you ask, how am I feeling right now? You already know that how you think affects how you feel. And what you want to do is, again, spend a little bit of time inside. If you're thinking negative thoughts or fearful thoughts, I don't enjoy going to the store anymore. I go as seldom as I can. And the other day, I hadn't been in my car in 2 weeks, and I forgot to put my seatbelt on. I took off, and all of a sudden, I've been wearing a seatbelt consistently and persistently since 1975. And all of a sudden, I'd forgotten that. And I find myself needing a checklist, like I'm going to fly an airplane or something, so that I don't forget what I'm doing, going to the store or the other places I have to stop. So that's one of the things that's it surprised me, because I'm not usually a high stress person. I don't get freaked out easily, but like you, I'm in a new world and I'm learning new skills and I'm learning what I need to look out for. So if you find yourself thinking negatively, or that you're having some thoughts that you don't want to have, what you can do is stop. If you're driving, give yourself a minute. And if it's really necessary, pull off the road. But if you're just walking along or walking through your house or something like that, stop in your tracks. Reflect on what's going on in your head. And then how does your body feel? Where's your breathing coming from? Is it coming from your chest? And if it is, that means that you are doing stress breathing. And so what you want to do, and you can practice this while I'm talking right now, what you do is you take a nice deep cleansing breath through your nose. And I'm going to demonstrate that. And try to push that air all the way down. I'm touching my belly right now. I want my air, and I know I can't really breathe in my belly, but that exaggerated motion helps you center. By the way, exhale while I'm talking if you need to. And so then you do a slow exhale the same way you inhaled, through your nose again, because breathing through your mouth is a sign to your body that you are stressed, and it's going to give you more more energy, which means you'll be more stressed. So in through your nose, out through your nose, touch your belly, and this will also center you. If you put your hands, and you can do this right now, the top of your hands touching your belly button. So the rest of your hand is touching your abdomen. And if you, as you breathe in, push that out a little bit, exaggerate it, and you'll get more air in your lungs. And then as you release that air, you contract your stomach muscles, and that pushes more air out. So what you need is more oxygen, and that's a way of giving it to yourself. And I have had a lot of success with that. I used to ride horses. I had horses for 30 years of my life. And if my horse started acting up and acting scared, what I had to do was relax. So I needed to take a nice, deep, slow breath. And I needed to drop my weight into the saddle and loosen up on the reins, which all are anti-instinctive. What you want to do is pull on the reins, kick the horse, try to get control, and it doesn't work that way. So sometimes you have to do the opposite. Your body is saying, let's hurry up, let's get this done, let's finish this, this is awful. And what you need to do is just stop. I can do this. And say to yourself, I can do this, I can handle this. And those are two phrases I use a lot. It makes a huge difference. Now I'm going to deviate. I'm making a note here so I can talk about this. I'm going to deviate for a minute to something that I'm writing in my new book. And as you put your hands on your abdomen one more time, I want you to think about what's in there. It's called your solar plexus. And your solar plexus is the one vital organ you have that is not protected by bone. It's the wise, intuitive, powerful part of you. And again, it's amazing how much energy and messages we get from our solar plexus. And this is probably connected to our spirit as well. I'm still experimenting with this, but I started reading about solar flares a few months ago. And I was amazed to find out, and then I went from there to solar plexus, and I was amazed to find out that the solar plexus got its name because of how it looks. It's like this little organ with all these nerve endings that go to every organ in our body, and it fans out like the rays of the sun. And that's how the solar plexus got its name. It's where our gut instinct comes from. When we say to ourselves, I've got to trust my gut on this, or, oh my gosh, my instincts are telling me, we actually refer to that organ when we have some sort of feeling that something's wrong, that something's questionable, that something is going on. Have you ever had that feeling when you were with someone and you thought to yourself, they're not telling me the truth. There's something else going on here. There's an agenda here. And you knew it really clearly, but it was an instinctive gut feeling. That's the power of your solar plexus. The other fascinating thing I found out, if anyone does yoga or you sort of follow any metaphysical information, is that the solar plexus is the power center of all of our chakras. And it's also, of course, yellow. And so I write about this whole solar plexus phenomenon within our bodies, and this little wise piece of anatomy that talks to us. And I call them glimmers. And so when you have this sense that something's off, something's going wrong, what you have is a glimmer going on, and pay attention to it. It's really easy. No, it's my imagination. This isn't really happening. It's going to be okay. But I didn't plan on talking about that today, but I'm so fascinated with this subject. And when we have that moment where our instincts gang up on us from our solar plexus, and we go, oh, I've got to do something about this, I call it a solar flare. And you have all that power within you. So I'm interested, has what I said made any sense? Does it sound too woo-woo? Does it sound real? I'd like just a quick bit of feedback on that, if you're willing. Any goers? Lisa, you're smiling.
Oh, Leslie, it's so wonderful and so powerful. That is what I teach, and that truth of following our gut. And so many of us have, digestion issues. As we are aging, we have, our guts are not liking us as much. And so I think there's a lot to be said for getting our nutrition in line, and the clarity with which that allows for our solar plexus to speak. So that is so cool. Thank you.
Thank you. I am so excited about this piece. Oh my gosh. I had chills when I wrote it, and and I've had really good feedback on it. Any other?
Everyone in the chat is saying things. It makes sense. They agree with you. They're giving you woots and cheers.
Oh, yay. Yay us. Thank you. Okay, so we've got body and mind, and then spirit, which after talking about the solar plexus, I get all charged up. And it basically move. That's all you have to do. And if you hear, I also collect little things on Facebook. There's something produced by, oh gosh, an international, it's got world music all the way through it. And so when I have to move and just sort of, well, what's it called? Luggage may have sort of shifted during the flight. And if your luggage needs shifting, get up and move, get up and dance. I'm a terrible dancer, but I will also walk in place just to sort of get things around. Shake shoulders, think about a dog shaking off stress. Whatever you can do is good for you. Light exercise, especially walking, finding a place that feeds your spirit, like I said. And even though it doesn't feel like spring, it's coming, and there are so many signs of it all over the place. My clematis is starting, it's all budded out, it's ready to go. And I'm just so excited about that. So now I'm gonna shift gears for a minute. And Regina, can we take a look at some of those questions? I've seen them going by when I was talking. I want to address, I have one from the group I was in, and we were talking about the awkwardness of running into people, to hug, not to hug, shake, elbow bump, whatever it is. And I had I experienced that the other day. I was at a store and I saw a guy, he's half my age, and we're just such good buddies. And I saw him in the store, and we stood about 5 feet from each other. We imposed a little bit, and there was no hug. And I stood there, and it just felt so strange and uncomfortable. I felt like I had run into an ex, and we didn't know what to talk about or how to behave, and it was awful. And we just sort of looked at each other, and we were both transmitting that message. And so we talked for about 15 minutes, and it was wonderful seeing him, but it changed the dynamic. And I'm a hugger. I love being hugged. I love hugging. So the other day when I was walking, I thought, well, here's a new hug. Hi, it's really wonderful to see you. I'm giving myself a hug so that I get the half that you would have given me. So maybe you can do the same thing. It's the best I've been able to come up with so far. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. So yay for all of us. If we can sort of pass that along, maybe it will make up, because when we get a hug, we give a hug, or when we give a hug, we get one. So here we are. I love me. I love you. I just can't demonstrate it anymore. So there you go. Which gets me to the next topic I want to hit on for a few minutes. I don't know if any of you received a couple of issues of my newsletter. It's what I call a 5-minute memo. It's called The Spark. And the tagline is, life shines brightest in the dark. And anyway, I wrote one issue about grief. And so I have in my notes here, you might be grieving now and not even realize it. We've lost a lot. We've lost our connections with people. We've lost our routines. We've lost some of the predictability that we had in our life. And even though life is not really as secure as we think it is, it's really insecure now. I mean, we have to add finances. We have to add, every time I leave the house, am I going to be well? I always wait 15 days before I go out again, just to make sure that I lived. And so there's a lot of hassle. I mean, I don't even open my mail the day I get it. It goes into a box and I don't touch it for 2 days. And you'd think I was getting ready for surgery when I bring groceries into the house, and I have the sterile section and the dirty section, and man, it just takes a lot of work. And so if I play happy music when I'm doing that, I feel better, so that I'm just not, this is awful, I don't want to have to do this. So anyway, things we've lost a lot, and we don't know when we're going to get it back. So there's this grief thing that happens. And I wrote here in my notes, you will find ways of coping that both nurture and undermine you. I have decided that my era of COVID will be known as the chip year. I made up a quotation, when the chips are down, reach for the chips. And salty and crunchy. Well, here's my stress food groups: the chewy, the gooey, the crunchy, the munchy, the salty, the faulty. And so anyway, yeah, I'm a salty and crunchy person. So I avoid gluten, so I'm not making bread, but I have I have tortilla chips and potato chips in my refrigerator right now. True confessions. So here's where the mind, body, spirit part comes in. You can't change the eerie atmosphere that we're living in right now. You can get sad or mad, but that's not going to help. So I have a question. I would like to see a hand raised on this. Do you read novels? Okay, I see nods, hands, okay. Well, I love novels. I learn a lot. I read a lot of nonfiction too, but I learn a lot from novels. And I love the protagonist who rises to the occasion and is able to sort of save the day. It's kind of like Superwoman in a way, but not quite. I can't do the outfit, I'm too old. But to be the shero of our own story, to be the person who says, I don't like this, but I can deal with it a day at a time. And yes, we talked in our group about my motivation is different right now because I can't work on my goals. I'm having trouble sort of thinking. I can't think far because I don't know what's going to happen. The future is unpredictable. And so then we make mini goals. Today I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. I call it, thanks to Shakespeare, my to-do or not to-do list. And that helps me decide, am I really going to do this? Or what are the things I don't want to do today? And there are days I don't eat my chips. So there are also days I'm going to call this person. One of my practices is doing a good deed a day. So I either call someone, send them an email, send a handwritten note, just to give them a little nice piece of feedback or let them know that I'm thinking of them. I feel better, they feel better. And sometimes it puts me back in touch with someone that I haven't been in touch with for a while. So reach out. This is cool. I had no idea I was going to talk about, I'm talking to myself right now, you don't have to listen to this. I didn't know I was going to talk about the solar plexus, but here it says in my notes, you can reach inside yourself and summon the inner wisdom you have while rallying what I call your superpowers. How's that? So speaking of superpowers, let me check. Oh gosh, we're doing great with time here. Let me stop for a minute. I want to answer questions in ours. Let's see, we did the hug thing. So what do we have here? So,
there's one that says, what are 3 easy and quick things that we can do when we start fading? And I think you might have given some of those tips already. Yeah, is there anything you want to
move physically, one.
Yeah.
And get your gratitude list out, and also do something nice for somebody else, or have a chip or a bag or a bowl, something. Yes, change whatever you're doing, change directions. I have literally walked in circles in my living room, and I live in a very small space, trying to figure out what am I going to do next. And I call it dithering. And when I start dithering, I need to just sit down for a minute and take a few breaths and smile and think about what I'm grateful for. One of my gratitude things, my mom just turned 100 years old. I talk with her every day. She's in a nursing home. I can't see her. But they gave her the most fabulous birthday party, and I have 3 videos of the party. These people love her so much. And she has her little vortex, yes. And I have also cultivated relationships with everyone. I know everybody's names. I take them gifts. I buy big bags of lifesavers and make a special card that says, you are our lifesavers. I love doing good deeds, and man, is it paying off. Yesterday, I couldn't get a hold of Mom. I called 3 times, and finally I get a text, and it's a picture of Mom at the nurse's station where she's not supposed to be. She's supposed to be in her room coloring. And then Chrissy, the nurse, also did a little video, and she said, so Julia, what do you want to tell Leslie? And Mom looks up, she goes, hello, I love you. And then she started eating her cookie again. So I'm sorry she's there. I'm sorry I can't see her, but man, I am so grateful for the care she's getting and the care they're giving me as well. So, okay, more questions.
One of the other questions, Leslie, was how do we support and lift others up going through a hard time in our own household when we may personally not be going through a hard time? And again, a lot of great tips you've already given yet. Maybe we can elaborate a little.
Well, one thing, repeat the whole thing again for me, Lisa. I just want to make sure I've got it.
Okay, how do we support and lift others up going through a hard time in our own household when we may personally not be going through a hard time? So we have others in our house that are struggling a lot more.
That should be a pretty easy one instinctively. And I know one work group that they were very close, and their joke used to be, do you need a hug? And then that would make them laugh. So if you can build a little tradition that can help that person sort of get out of themselves, or you can just say, what could I do? Is there anything I could do for you? What do you need right now? And just don't put them on the spot. Go ahead, think about it for a while. What would sort of make your day right now as well? And depending on who it is, you could also hide little notes in their room, in their pockets, in their shoes, and just a little reminder, I love you, maybe a nice inspirational quotation, depending on how old they are. Like I said, I have bunches of lifesavers. I'd stick a lifesaver in one of their shoes. They're wrapped, so they could still eat it. Or you could have, there was a time in my life when we used to have this game, and we had this little rubber cow, and we would hide it from each other. And I might sit on the couch and all of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, what's going on with my butt? And then find out that the cow was underneath the cushion, or I'd find it in my car, or he'd find it in his truck. Just little traditions like that. If you can figure out ways to help each other laugh, that would be helpful. And asking is fine. Where I walk around the block, a little girl has put messages on the sidewalk, and one of them is, it's okay to feel whatever you feel. And I have sidewalk chalk, and one of these days I'm going to carry it with me and take my knee pad so that I can get up and down, and draw her a sunshine and a heart, and maybe a unicorn if I'm really ambitious. But anyway, just trying to do little tiny things that make someone feel good. And asking doesn't take away the magic of a good deed. So that's all I've got on that one. I live alone, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have that.
Very good. That was the last of the questions that I seen from the breakout rooms. Regina, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
I do think that Leslie has touched on everything. You know, the creation of mini goals in order to stay motivated with your goals. And really, I love this idea of creating new traditions too. That is a beautiful blossoming gift that has come out of all of this. So terrific. Yes, I think that we've covered the questions.
Good. Okay. I want to go back to the new normal and the creating new traditions. You see, we are outside of our comfort zone anyway, so we may as well try new things. Try new whatever. Like I said, I got out the Instant Pot. I found it to be a little intimidating in the beginning because I like to make my own, I like to change recipes, and my Instant Pot guru said, make it the way it's supposed to be the first time, and then you can sort of mess it up if you want. And so I've been a little more cautious than usual, but we are in a new normal, and this new normal is going to have repercussions for the future. In my grief book, I write about a family whose dad died right after Thanksgiving. And so through the whole, and they're Catholic, and so through the whole Christmas time, they would light a candle every day and bring it to the table to represent their dad. So any little traditions you can think of, and maybe some of them would be pretty silly, but they could make a difference for the entire family. Okay, oh, good. We're making good time. I have one last segment, and then we can open it up for more questions if you like. So this is from the book I'm currently writing, and it's about your inner assets. It's about your superpowers, basically, is what I call them. And they are what got me to where I am. I'll give an example. So I discovered about 20 years ago that the very traits and qualities that get us into trouble as kids are the ones that help make us successful as adults. But as kids, we're a pain. We don't know how to mitigate. We don't know how to put a stopper or a control on our behavior. I was not a lovable child. I never had a teacher who took me under his or her wing. I was always an outsider. I was obnoxious. This is funny, I used words as kind of a weapon. I developed a pretty vast vocabulary when I was in 8th grade to keep myself an outsider in ways. So anyway, the very traits and qualities that got you into trouble as kids are the ones that make you successful as adults, especially if you are self-employed. This is really a fun experiment to go through. And in the book, I have all these qualities and traits you can choose from. But what quality or trait garnered criticism when you were a child? My mouth got me into trouble as a kid, constantly. In Catholic school, I was kept after class all the time to write 200 times on the chalkboard, "I will not talk out in class." I learned not to internalize that admonition, but I did learn how to write with 2 pieces of chalk. So I only had to write 100 times. So let's see here. The kid who talks too much. People skills, obviously. Extreme curiosity, an inquiring mind. Rebelliousness, independent thinking, stubbornness, perseverance, creativity, resilience, and so on. And these are innate traits. That's what I call them, innate traits. We're born with them. They're part of our personality. And as a result, you need to look back in your history and think about, what was it that I got into trouble for? What is it still that I get both complimented and criticized for as an adult? Because we learn how to kind of finesse those behaviors, but they're still there. Okay, so we have innate traits, and then we have what I call acquired abilities. Those are the skills, computer, Zoom, any kinds of photography, any of these skills we learn as we go along, dealing with numbers, dealing with insurance. That would not be for me. But what happens is the combination of our innate traits, the traits we're born with, and our acquired abilities become what I call our signature strengths. And your signature strengths are your personal winning combination. And that's what helps you excel. That's what makes you effective as a human being. And as an example, as a child, I was stubborn, rebellious, and mouthy. How do I make my living? And I was also sneaky and kind of creative. So today people admire me. This is out of the book. Today people admire me for my persistence, creative practices, and independence, and my communication skills. These are assets that make me admirable and very hard to live with. I have witnesses. Yes. So being able to leverage these skills you were born with, and I wanted the book to come out in 2020, but I have not touched it since February. That was the last time I touched it. I just pulled it out. I'm going to do some editing. There's so much I need to change now, thanks to the COVID thing. But I am excited about it. And it's a way to know ourselves better. And just given the little snippets that I've given you, I'm hoping that you will do a little bit of paper and pen exercise. What did I get yelled at? What was it that made me difficult? What do people compliment me on? What do people criticize me on? Chances are there's a thread. It's like you have a sweater and you notice a piece of yarn and you start pulling it and your sleeve falls off. So you don't want to go that far, but being able to look at yourself in depth. So any last question or comment as I start to wind down here? Anything at all?
I think we'll keep letting you move because we've got 2 minutes before our raffle drawing.
Okay, I knew that. The last thing I would like to say is keeping your spark lit is a practice. It's a conscious choice that you make. Check your mind, check your body, check your spirit. And I'll be 78 in September, and I've learned a long time ago that your spirit never knows, nor does it care how old you are. It doesn't even care sometimes about what your physical limitation, well, I don't even want to use limitations, what some of your physical issues are. And I mean, hey, I'm happy I can tie my shoes. And I purposely wear tie shoes so that I can bend over and again, move, stretch, do whatever we can. So I hope that this has been worth your time. It's the first time I've done this type of presentation in my little home on Zoom. And I thank you so much for your participation. And this is, I hope it's been as fun for you as it has been for me. Michelle.
Thank you so much for
thank you. Yes.
I was just trying to get everybody to wave so I could get a photo.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. So if everybody wants to take a minute to do that, let's do this on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Thanks, Michelle.
Perfect, thank
That's awesome. And Leslie, do you want to tell us one more time about this, the Bless Your Stress?
Yes, that's a book.
Keep an eye out.
Completed, and this is what it looks like. There's a little note, the little halo on the cover, and the subtitle is "It Means You're Still Alive." I talk about blessings in here, lots and lots of practices. It's a fun book on stress. It's not a scary book. There are guess your stress quizzes, and there are tips on being able to just day to day have a better life, live lightly, let go, celebrate your existence. That's the key to blessing your stress. And bless each of you for being here.
And where can we find your book, Leslie?
Oh, good question. Don't try Amazon unless you want a used book, because my Amazon Advantage program is broken right now. So that's one of the things I will get to do. Do you hear that language? Not, I get to do that. LeslieCharles.com, LESLIE. And I'll put that on my follow-up. I have a lot of notes to send you. And I hope you have fun with the superpowers and the innate traits. And please let me know what you re-know, discover, or rediscover about yourself. That would be fun for me.
That is terrific. And thank you for being open to
Great
getting
book.
our feedback. Look at Deb's got it.
And I have it signed. I just had to put that in there.
Gosh, it's so nice to see your face.
You too.
Yes. So there's a testimonial for you. What the heck?
Yes.
I do. Sign
Thanks,
it.
Deb. Thanks. Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right. And now I'm gonna send the mic over to Millie, who's gonna do our raffle.
All right.
We'll finish up with some
Share our
announcements.
screen. Are we doing more that we're doing one, or how many? 3? Okay. Okay, now everybody could see we have your names in here, and this is a drawing for an Amazon gift card, a $10 Amazon gift card, and I'm gonna spin the wheel. So who's the lucky winners? Our first one is Claudia Kerboway.
Oops.
Okay, now I'm gonna do it one more time for the second one. Jessica Starks, are you still on? And just so you know, if you brought your lunch and you bought lunch from a local business and supported a business, we put your name in there twice. Yay, Angela, Patrick.
Billy, can we do it again? I'll throw in a gift card.
Okay, one more time, and we're gonna get a gift card from Michelle White. Hold on, here we go. It's fun to see that wheel spin, isn't it?
Oh, look at this guy. He looks
Yay, Pam, thank you for all your information.
That's fun, Millie. I like that a lot.
That is fun. Now I have to go back to you, stop the share, and congratulations. Thank you all for participating. We also were donating $20. Regina, can you talk on that?
Oh, yes. And as a thank you to Leslie today, she has asked that we make a donation to Meridian Cares, and NACW will make a $20 donation to Meridian Cares in Leslie Charles' name.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, everybody. That's awesome.
Can we do one last thing? Millie?
Sure.
Can you roll that one more time, and I'll give away a copy of Bless Your Stress to someone.
Awesome. Yes. Let me share my screen again. I'm getting good at it.
We are gambling today. This is like gambling.
Hey, so go. It's just fun, you know, the excitement of it all. Oh,
wow. Let's spin it. Let's spin it again. Let's spin it again.
Okay.
Since Claudia won.
Yes. Actually, I should have removed her name. It's funny, it seems to be going over here a lot. Tracy.
Hey! Yeah. All right. Oh,
Fun.
Yes.
thank
you,
you.
Leslie. Thank you so much.
Oh, and I know I can speak for Tracy because I know how grateful she's going to be. That is fabulous. Okay, so for those of us, we still have a great crowd after an hour and a half. It's amazing to me. Thank you so much to everybody. I want to have Lisa remind everybody about how we are as NACW adding value out in the world. And Lisa, will you tell us about our upcoming event on the 19th, please?
Absolutely. So Clarissa Gonatas is going to share with us her road to success. She was voted one of the top 50 influential women in Grand Rapids, and she's going to come and talk to us about her growing up in the Philippines and the trials and tribulations of coming to the United States and growing a very successful business here. So that is going to be the 19th at noon. Grab your lunch and come and join. It's, you know, maybe a 45-minute Zoom all along, not quite an hour and a half, yet I think we can get some really good information from her. The other thing that I am still looking for to continue to add value is for members of NACW to come forward. We had a great presentation with Justine Bell and Luann Dijkma the other day, and we would love to get you to be able to present on a topic you're familiar with, a topic that is passionate to you. So email Lisa at Lisa Fisher Associates if you want to be on a Zoom event to get in front of the rest of the members. Oh, and the last thing, sorry, Regina, is Michigan Women Forward for the business owners has opened up today a resilience grant application process. And so again, I have posted these things on our NACW Facebook page.
Fabulous. Okay, so that is going to be your go-to space. If you've got information, resources, opportunities to virtually connect, please post it in there. Contact one of the board members. We will get it in there. We want to promote your work. We want you to be practicing getting in front of people and using this format or some other. Maybe you've got an idea of other formats that you're using that you're finding success with. Let's share and lift each other up because that is what we are all about. I wish you a beautiful day. I hope you all get your face in the sun today and enjoy the rest of it. We are so grateful for your attendance today. And I wish you the best rest of your week. And I'm always accessible to you, so please don't hesitate to reach out, text or email. I'm here for you. Make it a strong day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry for what?
Miss Pam, sorry, we bombed your introduction.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? That means you interrupted me when I was trying to introduce Miss Pam. Regina's laughing at you.
Bye, cutie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. I think it was great.
Thank you, Leslie.
My pleasure. Thank
You
you.
can stay on. Leslie, stay on for a minute and then we'll talk about how we're going to get the information out to everybody.
Okay.
Millie, thank you. That was fabulous. Lisa, thank you. That was fabulous. Thank you, Michelle. You were fabulous.
All right. We'll see you
Challenging
later.
sometimes.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm leaving this.
Bye. All right. All right. Oh, Deb was not supposed to leave. Funny Deb. I'm going to tell her to come back. Come back.
The first time
I don't know why I don't know why she left. Oh my gosh, that was so good. It was so good.
Thank you.
Did you feel good about it?
I do. I do.
All
I mean,
right.
it's a little awkward. I'm comfortable with silence when I say, what questions do you have?
Oh, yes. And, you know, there was a lot. I know you weren't monitoring the chat. And in fact, let me